Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and this is my new liquor store. So as many of you know, I've been working on buying this for a few months. We got it closed today. I now own it. We'll talk about how much I paid for it, what the plans are for it, some of the amazing neighbors next to it that may or may not be helping business out, and we'll also talk about my plans for it. So I do own the real estate. We are going to continue running it as a liquor store, and it should be pretty exciting with a lot of surprises. And not just for people viewing the videos, but for me as well, because there are simply a lot of things I don't know about the business and how this all is going to go. So a lot of people might think I'm crazy for buying something like this, but there are reasons why I did it, and we'll have lots of videos coming in the next few weeks talking about why I bought it, what the plans are, showing numbers and sales and all kinds of different things. And yes, that property right there, which has a bit of issues. So here's the liquor store inside. Now, this was for sale on the MLS, on LoopNet. Wasn't a surprise. They're asking $999,000 for it, or I think that's what they're asking for it. I saw it for sale. I already own a liquor store and real estate in a small town here in northern Colorado, in Pierce, Colorado. That business has been great. I've got a manager there. It's just been a lot of fun, and honestly, we've got it set up fantastically. So I've kind of been looking for another liquor store, and I've seen a few pop up. And I even tried to buy a couple of them that were just liquor stores with no real estate attached. And then this one came up for sale that was basically selling the real estate. And then if you wanted to buy the business with it, you could pay a little more for the inventory, fixtures, things like that. So it's kind of a different sale. It's actually very similar to the other liquor store I bought, how it was set up, but kind of different than you might see a lot of businesses sold. And so I made an offer. We negotiated a little bit. We came up with a price for the real estate and inventory. And then we went through the buying process. And so we had to get an appraisal. I had to figure out my financing. This was a pretty big purchase for me. I usually use private lenders to buy my flips or other commercial real estate properties, and then refinance them later on after we stabilize them. My private lenders, this is a little above what they are comfortable doing, so I did use a local bank to finance this one instead. That means you've got to get an appraisal, and that came in a little low. So that was a little low, and a lot of people might say, well, you paid too much for this property. Your appraisal didn't come in. The issue is the appraisal was just for the real estate. The contract to buy the real estate is just for the real estate. Is kind of a separate deal to buy the inventory and equipment and things like that. So it's a little tricky for the appraiser to come up with the value because he's only valuing the real estate, and the other side of this might have a whole lot of value to it. Of course, there's a lot of unknowns and a lot of things we've got to figure out along the way as well, which also make it tricky to value as a business. But pretty much everything in here comes with it, except for that horse that I showed in the very beginning. The owner wants to keep the horse. But we've got 2 drive-thrus. It used to be an extremely, extremely busy liquor store. I think sales have fallen off recently, or the last few years, 5 years, 10 years. Not really sure, because 0 sales numbers were shared with me on this deal. And so that's another reason people might think I'm completely crazy for buying a property where I was given pretty much no information on the business. And the reason I did that is because I think there's a lot of potential here. I think the real estate is worth it's worth what I paid for it. I always want to get a good deal though, so I don't like to pay fair market value. But if we get the business running good, if it's successful, it could be $1 million business, bringing in quite a bit of cash flow And that's really where the potential for this is. And it's got a lot of the basics here. It's got a really good start, but there's also a lot of things I think we can do to improve the liquor store and hopefully increase sales. Now, if you've seen my other liquor store, and I'll link to that in the comments below so you can see that business as well. This is huge compared to that one. My other one is tiny, but my other one's also kind of a half liquor store, half grocery store, convenience store, which might be something we can do here too, because if you noticed, there's basically zero snacks, a little bit of soda and juices and things like that here. But this is almost all entirely a liquor store, where if we can add other things, other reasons for people to come here, I think you can really increase sales. And a lot of people, I feel like, would shop at this store more if they could kill two birds with one stone and, get some snacks, drinks, besides liquor, while they're buying liquor, beer, whatever it is. So we're going to look into that. We're going to look into reconfiguring the store. We're going to look into renaming the store. Right now it's called Mardi Gras Liquor. It's been that for 20-some years, and I think I want to rename it and call it something new to kind of give it a fresh start, let people know it's different than it has been. So if people have ideas for names, let me know. This is very close to the University of Northern Colorado, which are the UNC Bears. Their colors are gold and blue. Their mascot name is Claus. So we've been thinking about it, how to kind of cater to that market a little bit. And we also need to figure out a lot of other things, right? We're trying to get systems put in place. We need a new POS system. If people have ideas for that, let me know. We've used Clover at our other store, which is okay, but I kind of want to do something different just because getting equipment for them is so hard. We're thinking, we've got to get probably employees figured out. There's some employees that we think want to stay, but like I said, we're just given a little bit of information, and a lot of that information came today after we bought it, so we're trying to kind of scramble and figure that out. Luckily, my manager from the other store is helping a ton at this one. We're trying to stay open at this store if we can, but we're also open to closing for a little bit if we have to get things figured out and get systems put in place. Now, this is the back cooler room, which is huge. There's so much room back here, but then also a lot of room you've got to cool, which isn't the most energy efficient, but I'm not sure how you could change this, but tons of room. So this store is gigantic compared to my other one, and we could have a lot of different goods and different things in here. Now, this is also in, Greeley, Colorado, which is a much bigger market than Pierce. You're talking about a town with over 100,000 people versus one with, I think, 1,500 people, and a town with one store versus a town with many, many stores. One thing I noticed is some of their beer wasn't out on the shelf. I have learned that operating liquor stores, you want your inventory out there so people can buy it. But the coolers are great. The back room is great. The space is great. The building is actually in really good shape. We had an inspection done, so that's nice. There's a potential here. But potential is not guaranteed. So there's a lot of work we've got to do as well. And so they didn't want to show us sales, I'm pretty sure, because they haven't been that great. They did tell us the store used to do really, really good, 15 years ago. That's a long time ago. But I think it can do really good as well. There's a Wendy's next door. There's a KFC 2 doors down. A McDonald's across the street. It's a high-density commercial area. There is that weird, dilapidated building right next to it. Maybe we'll try and buy that. We've got some more information coming on that soon. So there's a lot going on. A lot to think about, a lot to go over. We've been working on a lot of that today. But I'd love to hear what people think of it. Love to hear if you think of a good name. And then if you have suggestions, ideas, love to hear those too.